sent off in that game. Brian Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes getting themselves on the score sheet. Bournemouth drew 1-1 against Aston Villa. Morgan Rogers opened up the scoring. Ryan was there to go and get the equaliser. And something to note in that, Luca Dean's defending in that goal is one of the most shocking pieces of defending I think anybody's ever seen. Arsenal won 3-0 against Sunderland. Martin Zubimendi getting himself on the score sheet. Vitor Gyökeres at the double as well. Big 3 points for West Ham United away from home in Greater Manchester against Burnley. 2-0 in that contest. Somerville and Castaños with the goal. Mikalenko got an own goal against Fulham, and that gave the home side the lead, but Everton were able to mount a comeback. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and Leno own goal saw a 2-1 victory there for David Moyes' side. Wolverhampton Wanderers did find themselves on the score sheet against Chelsea, but they were already 3-0 down. Cole Palmer getting himself a hat-trick, and he's become the first Premier League player to get 3 first-half hat-tricks. We are going to see a double change here for Newcastle United. Anthony Elanga and Nick Voltemada have come onto the field of play. We are going to see Jacob Murphy vacating the pitch. Just trying to get confirmation of that second substitution as well. Going with 2 up top now is Eddie Howe's side. So a double change for Newcastle. Believe it is the same as it is for Brentford, but Eddie Howe knows that his side need to find a response in this contest. So they're calling on the Swede and they're calling on the German of Nick Voltemada and Anthony Elanga to try and find them answers. It's basically going to be a 4-2-4, maybe a 4-4-2 if Harvey Barnes and Elanga have to come that little bit deeper. Nevertheless, it is Brentford to get us underway. They're going from left to right in this second half. Long ball play forward down towards this right-hand side with Coyote trying to find a way past Bruno Guimaraes. Can't quite do so as Elanga tries to get his first touch of the game. Long ball play forward and Nick Pope is there to go and gather. So just a confirmation of them double substitutions then, as Willock and Murphy have vacated the field of play. Anthony Elanga and Nick Voltemada have both come on. You very rarely see sides go 2 up top, but that's what Eddie Howe feels will be the answer to his current conundrum. Here is Bruno Guimaraes then, looking to try and switch out towards where Barnes is on that left-hand side. The Brazilian putting a little bit too much pace on that switch of play, and Keith Andrews is over there to knock it over towards where Coyote can get play back resumed for Brentford. If you're just joining us, you're listening to live audio coverage of Newcastle versus Brentford. The away side 2-1 up at the moment as this long ball is played forward over towards where Igor Thiago is wrestling with Sven Botman. Lewis Hall is over there to go and help out his teammate. And there's an opportunity here for Brentford to go and launch in one of their signature long throws. Coyote has already come trotting over to go and take this one. Vandenberg and Christopher Auger are both making themselves be known inside of that 18-yard box. Igor Thiago is basically standing on the toes of Nick Pope. Coyote launches that javelin towards that penalty area. It's headed away at the first attempt and launched away by Harvey Barnes. Elanga up against where Henry is, and he's done really, really well there. Has Rico Henry had to get some contact on it, and he's done so. Jensen pumping this ball forward as Auger tries to get the flick on. Igor Thiago is wrestling with Lewis Hall, and there was initially a free kick already given by Christopher Auger, who's still complaining that he doesn't feel like it should be given despite Newcastle already 3 passes in front of when it was initially given. Here is Malik Toy then driving forward on this right hand side. The German realising he doesn't have too many options in front of him, opting to go backwards towards Newcastle's goal scorer so far today, Sven Botman. Here is Lewis Hall. Again, that long ball over towards where Harvey Barnes is. Coyote does get there. Voltemada picking up the loose ball. Lovely ball in towards Harvey Barnes. Chance here for Newcastle. There is Visser being forced away at the first attempt by Vandenberg in towards where Lewis Hall is. Here is Johan Visser. Again, no option for the strike. Tries to chip one in towards that far post. Elanga trying to find some room. Elanga's ball in. Cleared away by Auger. The flag has gone up though on that far side. But given we've only played 2.5 minutes so far of this second half, you've got to say that's a really, really positive display so far from Newcastle, and it's a little bit unlucky how Elanga's found himself in an offside position, the former Forest man. The ball was played in by Visser and he was onside, and it took a little deflection over Bruno Guimaraes, which inadvertently put Elanga in an offside position. Maybe there's a bit unlucky there for the Swede, but nevertheless is a warning sign for Brentford that Newcastle aren't going to go into their shell and keel over from this deficit that they find themselves in. They're taking the game to them they're going to try and find an equalizer. Definitely, if they get that, they're going to go and searching for a winner as well. They're being ultra aggressive too with how high they're playing, as Kelleher is forced to play this ball long. It's a poor ball though by the Irishman. Alanga can pick up the loose ball on this right-hand side. Trippier can't get round him. He's too quick as Alanga. Ball in towards where Barnes was trying to arrive. Bruno Guimaraes tries to bring it down. Decent clearance by Coyote. Only as far as Malik Toy, and Sven Botman is there. He can roll it back all the way to Nick Pope. Pope is going to be rushed here to flick it out towards this left-hand side. Lewis Hall bringing it down nicely. But it's a good intervention, though, by keen Lewis Potter, just shrugging the Englishman to the side. And Jordan Henderson can take over for Brentford back here with Kelleher. They are steamrolling into Brentford. Now are Newcastle. They are showing no sign of slowing down. They are really going man for man and ultra-high press as Alanga does bring down Rico Henry, complaining that he felt he only shoulder barged the Englishman, but it is going to be a free kick deep inside of Brentford's half. 4 minutes played so far. My goodness, of this second half, it's really been just 0 to 60 from the get-go. There's Newcastle initiating Eddie Howe's second half game plan of take the game to Brentford. Don't go into your shell. Really try and find a response. One ball played forward by Kelleher. Here is Dangu Utara, who's arguably been the best player on the pitch so far today. Bruno Guimaraes trying to send the long ball forward to Anthony Alanga, and the pace of the Swede hunting down where Kelleher is, but the little 1-2 between little triangle actually between Vandenberg and Kelleher, and Henry eventually does see Brentford bring the ball away over on towards this far right hand side where Lewis Potter is trying to flick it past Lewis Hall. Hall trying to make a darted run on towards this left hand flank. Henderson is there to go and intervene, and it will be a Brentford throw on just in front of where it will be a Newcastle throw on, sorry, just in front of Keith Andrews' technical area. So Newcastle already using a couple of substitutions so far in this contest, and can't really blame them. They needed some sort of answer, and Eddie Howe hopes the introductions of Alanga and Voltemada will potentially see that. We haven't seen any changes from the Bees so far, but of course they do have defensive options on the bench of Nathan Collins, of course, former Wolverhampton Wanderers man, and Ethan Pinnock as well, as Newcastle are driving forward here on this right-hand side. Trippier's in an advanced position. Complains for handball there. Henry leaning over. And, I tell you what, VAR are going to have a long look at this one. My initial instinct is penalty. John Brooks is our VAR. Trippier's ball goes in. Oh, no. Henry's chest has got in the way of it. It's good defending in the end. It just looks like handball from the reverse angle, because Henry swung with his arm, but it's hit his shoulder, and as he swung, that almost like momentum from the ball has just swung his arm. It looks like just for a moment that he swung his arm outwards, and he's just got his arm in the way. So from our immediate standpoint, we think it's a penalty, but this is why we have, a referee hasn't given it, but this is why we just have VAR, just for that little bit of clarification. No, we've seen the reverse replays. No way at all is that handball. It's good officiating there once again, but nevertheless it does result in a corner. Of course, Newcastle scoring from a set piece in the first half. It was Sven Botman arising from a in-swinging delivery. It's going to be an out-swinging delivery this time of Kieran Trippier. The former Tottenham Hotspur man puts one arm up, and he puts in it's a really poor ball there by Kieran Trippier, and he knows it as well. His head goes down. As Alanga is forced to go back towards where Lewis Hall is. Hall taking an ambitious touch. Had to rush his pass in the end. Lewis Potter was there to go and intervene. He pumps this ball forward as Brentford desperately trying to form some sort of counter-attack. Maybe a little bit too desperately, because they're nearly coming unstuck here. But Janout does draw the foul from Bruno Guimaraes, who is nearly screaming in Andy Madley's face there, feeling that it wasn't a free kick. But I think Janout just played the ball quite nicely and winning the free kick for his side. Former Liverpool man Jordan Henderson clipping one over towards Igor Thiago, trying to hold up the field of players, the Brazilian. He's done quite well so far as King Lewis Potter goes in against Lewis Hall. Good defending there by Hall, and Bruno Guimaraes can fend off a couple of challenges and retain possession for his side. Reversible in towards Malik Toy. There is Lewis Hall. Long ball played forward over towards the former Brentford man Johan Visser, desperately trying to keep it in play, but Ajer is over there to go and intervene. He can roll it back towards Kieran Kelleher, who is getting more and more confident every single time the ball does come back to his feet. Ajer in towards Coyote. He can smack one down the throw to the pitch towards Dangarutara. He tries to bring this down as the former Bournemouth man, but there is a lovely interception by the German Malik Toy. It's Tonali, reversal ball. Oh, it's a lovely little dummy by Voltemada as well. Alanga's inside of the penalty area now, just trying to find some kind of option. Trippier's ball towards that far post. Barnes' header! Just the wrong side of the post. It was a lovely little bit of play there by Newcastle. Them home supporters can feel it as well. They're really giving their approval. It was a lovely ball by Tonali, and Voltemada just took out a couple of players with a delicious little dummy straight through the German's legs. Little 1-2 between Alanga and Trippier as the Englishman floated it in towards his compatriot Harvey Barnes, who got a lot of airtime on the jump, and he was just trying to generate the power because the ball had a lot of spin on it. He had to generate it through his neck muscles, trying to divert it in towards the bottom left corner. Couldn't quite do so, but I tell you what, that's the second attempt now that Newcastle have had where you've just gone, ooh, just maybe, and we've only played 7-8 minutes so far of this second half. They're moving forward here once again. Visser trying to get himself in behind, but there is Kelleher able to go and intervene, and he's gathered quite nicely. That little moment there has forced Keith Andrews to blink, and he's bringing on Yarmouk for his first substitution of the contest. It's going to be Kelleher then to launch this ball forward on towards the middle of the pitch as Igor Thiago tries to bring this one down. It's done quite successfully too. Rico Henry up against two black and white shirts, and they've come away with it. Alanga just nipping one in towards Sandro Tonali. Promising here for Newcastle. Johan Visser feels he has been fouled by Chris Ferriger. Not going to be given by a referee. And in doing so, it's led to a huge counter-attack here for Brentford. It's 4-on-4. Janelt's got so much room in front of him. He's picked out King Lewis Potter. Cuts this on that left foot of his. Lewis Potter strike. Hall. What a block that is by Lewis Hall. I tell you what, Brentford had just two men over, and King Lewis Potter did the right thing. He cut inside and tried to get the shot away. Hall used his body so well just to delay the initial strike and then spin himself backwards and get the block in as well. I tell you what, this game has absolutely everything at the minute. And we are going to see that substitution then. Jordan Henderson's day is over. The experienced veteran really on the field of play. Of course, former Sunderland man as well. He knows this part of town very nicely, does Jordan Henderson, playing his football out in West London now, giving a real approval towards them away supporters, sorry. And he's shouting towards his teammate as well as to try and see them over the line with 35 minutes to play. So Jordan Henderson's day is over, and Yarmouk, the Ukrainian, will be coming on in towards that holding midfield position. Really got to do a bit of a key job for Keith Andrews' side. Such a good player to have, Jordan Henderson, isn't he? In the setup, the experience that he brings. You know, won the Premier League with Liverpool, won the Champions League with Liverpool. Won it all with Liverpool, didn't he? The Jordan Henderson featured numerous times in the England squads, and there is rumours that he'll be in the upcoming 2026 squad. Whether or not Thomas Tuchel does pick him for that experience card, we'll have to see, as Dangarutara does come driving up this left-hand side, trying to find a way past Sven Botman, as feels there was a foul in there, did Kieran Trippier, and the free kick has been given. A note is being passed out as well. Yarmouk just handing it in towards where Janelt is, and he's having a look at the instructions being passed out. They're going 4-4-2. I mean, they've got the notes out, and Janelt is having a look at it, and then he's just gone with his fingers 4-4-2. So whatever else the note says, I think we can pretty much make out really what's going to be happening. Keith Andrews is having a little word over there with Rob Jones, the full official, why it should have been a free kick. I'll be having a word with Vitaly Janelt for giving away the tactics so quickly. Dangarutara's ball in towards the penalty area, cleared away though by Malik Toy, and it will result in a Brentford corner. They're going to take their time over this one as well. I mean, it's almost like something out of a comedy sketch. He's been given the instructions and they just shouted the instructions, you know, the secret message, and just shouted the secret message out. I mean, why not? Matthias Jensen then over this corner. Brentford's only their second corner of the game. Igor Thiago, of course, is making himself be known in there, as is Chris Rocher and Sepp Vandenberg with his long sleeves on, being marked by Sven Botman, who has got himself on the score sheet today. Jensen, who won Brentford's penalty in the first half, tried to convert in towards the bottom right corner. Was a handball in the end, as Jensen's ball in towards that far post. Popers came and Popers got there. It's a good punch away there by the former Burnley man. Dangarutara does pick up the loose ball. He's up against Lewis Hall, and a little ricochet off of the Englishman does mean it will be a Brentford throw over on this far right hand side, and just can see Lewis Hall's reaction there, that the second he gives away the throw, and he knows it's not going to be a little short throw, and it's an opportunity for him to win the ball back with his feet. They've all got to virtually mark up again like it's a corner, because it's going to be a darting ball in by Coyote, in towards that far post, and Pope has gathered and does come away with it. It was Pope trying to send Newcastle on their way with a long throw, and it's a really, really poor ball there by Nick Pope. Lewis Potter is there to go and intervene, and he can roll it back towards Kieran Kelleher in goals. The Irishman pumps one down the middle of the pitch. Igor Thiago is wrestling with Malik Toy, but he does give away possession. So in terms of their shape now, Brentford, this 4-4-2 is seeing Igor Thiago and Dango Utara go further up the field. Yarmouk has gone on towards this right-hand side. Jensen and Yenelt are the two in the central midfield positions, and King Lewis Potter is playing that little bit more of a deeper role on that left-hand side. As again, just trying over on this right-hand side as well, as well. It's a real mess at the minute, is the Brentford shape, because King Lewis Potter, who's meant to be out left, is on this right-hand flank. I think they're just out of shape just for a moment. Bruno Guimaraes now trying to switch it out towards this right-hand flank. Matthias Jensen, who's meant to be playing this real central attacking midfield role, is basically playing left wing-back. I mean, I did make a little bit of a joke about the instructions of 4-4-2, but didn't really see what else was on the paper, maybe, because it's a complete kind of change of shape. Matthias Jensen feels it should be his throw-on, by the way. There's a little ricochet that came off between him and Kieran Trippier, and it will be a Newcastle throw-on deep inside of Brentford's half. They're going to use this opportunity to launch a long throw-on of their own. They've gone short instead towards Alanga. They do have options inside the penalty area. Trippier has whipped one in towards that danger area. It's a good header away by Yarmouk, picked up here by Lewis Hall. Sandro Tonali does take over, trying to chip one over the top towards Bruno Guimaraes. Little flicked on header towards where Voltemade is. Good defending though by the Dutchman Sepp van den Berg. Just really read it really well. Just saw that Voltemade, wanted to try and get in at the near, and he just positioned himself, able to go and intervene and clear Brentford's lines. It's really, really positive defending there by Sepp van den Berg. As Nick Pope happy to have the ball back at his feet, and Brentford looking to try and contain Newcastle once again. So, I mean, they still look like they're in a 4-2-3-1. I saw Vitaly Yenel go 4-4-2, but they still look like they're in a 4-2-3-1. Do Brentford, all with how Jensen's gone a little bit more in towards that wing-back kind of role. Nevertheless, Newcastle still trying to work out what kind of shape that Brentford are playing as well. That's what they can do to try and keep possession too, as Lewis Hall tries to get himself involved. As Coyote sees that one trickle out, and it is going to be a Brentford throw on deep inside of their own half. Just ticks over the hour mark. You're listening to live audio coverage of Newcastle versus Brentford. Brentford 2-1 up in this contest. Making the change just moments ago. Yarmouk coming on in the middle of the park, as Lewis Hall does go and intervene here, trying to chip one over towards where Bruno Guimaraes is, but there is Dango Utara to go and intervene. It's really, really good play there by Dango Utara, and he flicks out towards where Rico Henry is, and the Englishman has got yards in front of him. Henry now driving forward with some real pace, back towards Matthias Jensen on the edge of the penalty area. Jensen's strike, a little bit greedy there by the Dane, probably had an option towards his right-hand side, and Lewis Potter should have really played it. Coming away with the ball was Harvey Barnes, though, as he found Nick Voltemade, the German. Lots of room in front of him to pick out Anthony Alanga, the Swede international, driving down the byline. Alanga's ball in towards that penalty area. Visser made the wrong run. Van den Berg was there to go and intervene. And Brentford can bring this ball away with Lewis Potter. This game is getting so stretched now. He tries to pick out Igor Thiago. Good intervention, though, by Sven Botman. And Tonali can pick up the loose ball. Here is the Italian over towards Kieran Trippier once again, who made a real risky commitment, did Kieran Trippier, and that led to Rico Henry getting into such a good area, picking out Matthias Jensen, and he probably should have picked out King Lewis Potter. Went for the strike, wasn't really the right option. Barnes is born towards the penalty area, easily picked up by Kieran Kelleher. So, just to recap as well, this 4-4-2 is still a 4-2-3-1. Brentford haven't changed their shape at all. Vitaly Yenel, whatever he was saying with the 4-4-2, it's gone completely out the window, because Brentford are still in the same shape they were in. It was just virtually a like-for-like swap. Here is Voltemade then, holding up the field of play. Challenges coming in from Yenel and also Yarmouk, but Voltemade does very, very well. Here is Trippier, is Yenel going in once and twice and for a third time, and our referee is playing advantage. Vitaly Yenel just needs to be a little bit careful. We haven't had any yellow cards tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Matley dishes one out at some point. Here is Bruno Guimaraes, the Brazilian, looking for the run of Anthony Alanga off the back of Vandenberg, but he's read that very, very nicely. Hassan Vandenberg plays it in towards where Yanao is as well. Igor Thiago. Oh, I tell you what, his friend Botman's got the header. Igor Thiago knows how to throw himself about because it's a free kick on the halfway line. Botman's made the header, but he's gone absolutely flying from the challenge. It's an absolute handful, isn't he? The Brentford number 9. There's a reason he's got 17 goals this season, and it's for moments like that he's just so difficult to try and mark and deal with. Here is Jensen now, in towards Dango Ataro. It's a good interception though by Malik Toy. Bruno Guimaraes holding up the field of play quite nicely. Voltemod is in a really, really good position if he can pick out the German. Opts for the Italian instead of Sandro Tonali. His ball in towards that penalty area. Cleared momentarily. Complaints for a handball of Harvey Barnes, and it has been given. Lewis Hall and Bruno Guimaraes are complaining for an initial handball potentially on Christopher Ager. He's saying it hit his waist and virtually laughing at the complaint. And yeah, he's got a point, to be honest. He's got a real point. Newcastle immediately going over and complaining that it hit the arm of Christopher Ager. There's no point, there's no chance at all. It's hit his waist, and that's all that concluded. Johan Visser's day is done, and he is absolutely fuming as Visser. He's come off and he's sprinting off, and he's sat himself down and he's throwing himself down on the chair backwards and forwards, and you can just see the face of a man that is absolutely gutted with how the day has panned out. And his day is over, and he has been replaced up top by Asula. So a completely different look in the Newcastle front line basically at this point. Two big options trying to compete with Brentford's big centre halves. And talking of a big option up top, you got Thiago trying to hold up the field of play, just took it out for a Newcastle thrower on this right hand side. So again, just a straight swap, just to confirm that Johan Visser has vacated the field of play at minute 65. William Asula has come on and immediately trying to get himself involved. Is Asula chasing down where Ager is. He's happy to put that one into touch, and it is going to be a Newcastle throw on this left-hand side, taken quickly by Lewis Hall. Here is Bruno Guimaraes back towards Lewis Hall once more, playing it back towards Sven Botman, the Dutchman, trying to roll this ball forward. Malik Toy and Kieran Trippier. Again, Brentford sitting in with all men behind the ball. You can't really blame them. They've got that goal advantage, and they've got all of them away supporters that are based behind the goal that Newcastle are attacking towards. Just to give you a quick reminder, if you've joined us halfway through the coverage, that Brentford changed ends at the very beginning of this contest, and it just throws a little spanner into the work, because Newcastle, who are so used to attacking towards their home supporters, have got to attack towards where their away fans are in the gods, and just trying to keep the ball out with their West London side. Here is Lewis Hall then, back towards Sven Botman, the Dutchman, in towards Malik Toy. Little reversible in towards Voltemod. A one-touch football here by Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes over to Lewis Hall once more, trying to cut inside on that weaker right foot of his. Hall, not many options in front of him, has to go towards Bruno Guimaraes once again. He's happy to roll it on towards that right foot of his with Malik Toy as the German opting for the strike. Malik Toy opting out that one, goes for the strike instead. Great save though by Kieran Kelleher. It's absolutely fantastic. Malik Toy came driving forward, and he opted out from the initial effort, took another couple of touches, gets a shot away. It's going to whistle in towards the top right corner. Kelleher came scrambling over. We call it the European save, where you get your arm above your head and you just parry it away. It's a really, really good stop there by Kieran Kelleher. Resulted in a corner then. Bruno Guimaraes' ball towards that penalty area, met by Botman. And he's already got one on the score sheet, but he can't quite get the second. It's a really, really good ball in towards that far post. And there is the Dutchman again. And it's virtually like a replay of that first goal, just that the ball's gone to the wrong side of the post once more. And now as we tick over to minute 68, it's the centre halves that are causing the biggest problems for Brentford defensively. I mean, Eddie Howe has changed, but he's changed virtually all of his front line at the moment. I wouldn't change the centre halves, because they look like the biggest goal threat. Driving this ball down this right-hand side is Alanga. As Vandenberg does put this one into touch, you can feel an element of momentum is starting to grow for the Geordies. As Kieran Trippier over to go and take this throw on. The former Burnley man back towards Malik Toy, who had that shot just moments ago. That was having to be parried out by Kieran Kelleher. Botman here with the German once more of Malik Toy on that favoured right foot of his. Plays it short instead towards the skipper Bruno Guimaraes. Alanga, former Nottingham Forest man, driving this ball down the line as the youngster, trying to put this ball in towards that near post. It's not the best of balls in though by Anthony Alanga. You can see his frustration on it, and Kieran Kelleher is quite happy to regroup and launch this ball down towards his right hand side. It's a really nasty challenge there by Igor Thiago. I think that's going to be a yellow card against Lewis Hall, and I think Andy Madley's got that absolutely spot on. The ball's gone launching towards the air, and Igor Thiago has just got in on Lewis Hall. That it's really made it awkward for how Hall is going to fall. It's a horrible kind of act, because Hall's in the air and he's going to go and win the header, and what Igor Thiago isn't trying to win the ball there. He's just trying to put a little nudge on Lewis Hall, and in doing so, it just throws him off balance and could really cause some sort of nasty injury. Now, Igor Thiago has got to be careful, because Malik Toy has seen that Igor Thiago is seeing red a little bit here, and he's just bumping into him. And the Brazilian is just trying to keep his composure, because the last thing he'll want to do is potentially get himself sent off. Igor Thiago, I mean, they're just wrestling with each other. Igor Thiago is trying to force him in towards an offside position. Tonali's ball in towards that far post, headed away at the initial attempt, as Trippier does pick up this loose ball. As the Brazilian Thiago just keeping a sharp eye on the action between him and Malik Toy at the minute. Alanga has possession on this far right hand side, 35 yards out with Tonali. He's going to whip one in towards the penalty area, cleared away by Igor Thiago. He's really at the centre of things at the moment. Lewis Hall does pick up the loose ball, the Englishman, over towards Kieran Trippier, his compatriot. Both sets of fullbacks getting themselves involved, as Hall trying to find a way past King Lewis Potter. He's done so using his body quite nicely, but there is Coyote to go and intervene. Here is Lewis Potter. It's a lovely little ball in towards where Yarmouk is, but Sven Botman is over there to go and intervene on the substitute, and Harvey Barnes can help out as well. Voldemort has got yards in front of him as the German using a lovely bit of feet. Voldemort in towards Alanga, and it just didn't quite work out in the end. Alanga came short instead. He kind of closed everything up, because Voldemort got really ahead of steam and was starting to use his pace quite nicely. And in doing so, in that little run by Alanga, he just forced everybody in towards the space that Voldemort was running into, and then just broke down the attack. Here is Rico Henry then, over on this far left-hand side. Back here with Sepp van den Berg. Oh, lovely reversal ball there by the Dutchman to pick up Yarmouk. He's got King Lewis Potter over towards his right-hand side, uses him. He's happy to take his time, and so are Brentford, trying to invite that pressure from Newcastle and just tick that clock a little bit further down. We've got less than 20 minutes to go, plus stoppage time of this contest. Still Brentford 2, Newcastle 1. Pope in possession. Over towards his former Burnley teammate, of course, with Kieran Trippier. Bruno Guimaraes, and back here with Malik Toy. Kieran Trippier has just pulled up here just for a moment, feeling his knee. He's moving a little bit gingerly. Just have to keep an eye on that one. Have to see if they're forced into a change. Maybe Dan Burn might have to come on, and Lewis Hall have to play out on that far right-hand side. Have to see as the play does continue. I think he's going to be okay to carry on. Just moving a little. Yeah, he seems to be walking it off. Here is Malik Toy then, once again on the halfway line for Newcastle, looking for his compatriot Nick Voldemort. Can't quite find him. Goes towards Tonali instead, towards his central midfield partner and skipper Bruno Guimaraes. Only got Kieran Trippier towards his right. Uses the Englishman. Bruno Guimaraes once more. Can't quite play the reversal ball in towards where Alanga is. Opted to go backwards towards Toy. Botman's towards his left-hand side. The German's wanting to go forward, though. Again, he's got options for a strike, potentially. Plays it in towards Tonali. Back towards Alanga. Alanga trying to find some room for the strike. There's enough turquoise shirts in there to get a block in, and it was Yarmouk instead. And there's a reversal ball in towards Dango Ouattara. And he's got a lot of room to work with as well, the former Bournemouth man. Driving forward with some real tenacity. Dango Ouattara down towards the byline, and he's just completely got it all wrong in the end. Ran out of space and tried to smash one in towards the penalty area. In fact, it might have taken a deflection. It might have been a little bit too harsh there on Dango Ouattara. In fact, I think it did. And it is going to result in a Brentford corner over towards this far left-hand side. They're going to make another substitution as well. I'll give you confirmation of that one when we do get it and see it. As Matthias Jensen is over to go and take this corner kick. Actually, was way too harsh there on Dangu. He made up some really, really good ground on this left-hand side. And it was a deflection, actually, off of Malik Toy, which has resulted in Brentford's third corner of the game. As Igor Thiago is making himself be known inside of that penalty area. Jensen's ball in towards that box. Is headed away though by Sven Botman. So some work here for Coyote to do, and he's made a little bit of a meal of that. Asula's got some real ground to run into. Brentford not with enough men back here. Asula rolling it in towards where Elanga is. Elanga's ball in towards the penalty area. Oh, there's so many black and white shirts that are racing in. Bruno Guimaraes has gone down. Little challenge coming together with Coyote, and our VAR will certainly be having a look at this one. Bruno Guimaraes is in a real bit of discomfort after coming together with Coyote. Just quickly run you through that counter-attack. Asula picked up the loose ball and he went driving forward, the substitute, right inside of that penalty area as Elanga did pick up the loose ball. And, ooh, I mean, Bruno Guimaraes does go down. Just see if there's contact. Oh, he's clipped him. Coyote's clipped Bruno Guimaraes, and Bruno Guimaraes potentially could have got on the end of it and scored from close range. I think it's going to be a penalty. Coyote's gone in. I think it's incidental. And Eddie Howe and immediately over there, Tyndall too. They're both complaining. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes is in a real bit of discomfort. He's in a real nasty bit of pain as well. As I say, our VAR is John Brooks, and he's saying that it should be a penalty. And immediately our referee Andy Madley is being called over to have a look at the monitor. And usually what that means is a spot kick. And for me, I think it is. I think the way that Coyote has gone in and the run that Bruno Guimaraes has made, hey, we don't know if Bruno Guimaraes would have made contact on the ball, but nevertheless, I think it's incidental by Coyote. However, he's clipped him, he's fouled him, and it's quite obvious that he clips his running leg into his standing leg, and that sends Bruno Guimaraes over, and it's a penalty for me. He's onside as well. It was being played onside by Rico Henry over at the near as Elanga's ball went in towards the penalty area. They're just slowing it down, and you can clearly see that Coyote just clips the back of the heel of Bruno Guimaraes, which sent him over. And I think it's pretty conclusive that the fullback committing the foul on the central midfielder, and that usually will mean a spot kick. In terms of who will take the spot kick, you imagine it probably will be Bruno Guimaraes potentially. I mean, Voltemada, of course, has scored from the spot in the past for Newcastle as well. They're really taking their time over this one. We've already had one penalty today, and it was up this end. It was Igor Thiago that finished in real style in towards the bottom left corner. However, if you want a man in goal for spot kicks, it really is Keeman Kelleher. Of course, he's been in spot kicks for League Cup finals in the past, and he's come out as victor in them contests. And he's got quite a decent record, hasn't he, from saving penalties. They're really taking their time over this as the VAR team. Just to remind you, our VAR is John Brooks and his assistant VAR is Mark Scholes. They've been in the year of referee Andy Madley. He's done the little signal of the screen. And just to repeat what he's saying, after review, the blue number 33 does trip the black and white number 39. And my final decision is penalty. And that will mean that Newcastle do have the opportunity to level up in this game. And it's Voltemada who is he's the one that's taken the ball. Coyote is pleading his innocence, but VAR have checked it. He's frustrated with himself, Coyote. He's had a really good game up to now. And as much as he pleads his innocence towards King Lewis Potter, it's not going to overturn the referee's decision. And it means that Keeman Kelleher is going to have to try and be the hero for the Bees to try and stop Newcastle getting themselves back level in this game, and what will set up a fascinating last 12 minutes. Voltemada actually has left the ball now for Bruno Guimaraes, who has scored 4 of his last 5 penalties, with 3 of them going towards the bottom right corner. We know Kelleher would have done his research. All Premier League goalkeepers do, don't they? As it's going to be Bruno Guimaraes then from 12 yards, the Brazilian, to level things up in what has been a fabulously entertaining contest so far. and what will set up an absolutely brilliant ending. Bruno Guimaraes then from 12 yards. The Newcastle skipper steps up just from close range and fires it, and it's fired in towards the top right corner. It's a fabulous penalty, and the Brazilian levelling things up here, giving a little salute towards the camera as if to say the job is not over just yet. We're on our way, and the Toon Army are really behind their side. It's a fabulous penalty as well. Little stutter in the run-up. Rolls it in towards the bottom right corner. Kelleher goes the wrong way. It's a really, really nicely taken penalty. The way his body shape is, he's shaped up like he's going to bury it in towards the bottom left corner, and he's just rolled it into the bottom right. It's a really, really well taken penalty. What it means is it sets up a fabulously entertaining ending of the last 12 minutes plus stoppage time. Don't go anywhere. If you're just joining us, you're listening to live audio coverage of Newcastle against Brentford. It's 2-2. And this game has had absolutely everything. We've had penalties, we've had goals from corners, goals from open play. We've had cards. And we've had King Lewis Potter just vacating the field of play. As Brentford do make another substitution. We're going to see Donovan coming on over on that right-hand side. Donovan now back towards where Coyote is. What an ending we've got ourselves set up for here. Of course, just to remind you of the circumstances, if Newcastle do win this game, they will go above Sunderland, their noisy neighbours, and into the top half of the Premier League. If Brentford do win, they go on level points with Liverpool, who do play tomorrow against Manchester City. As now, Bruno Guimaraes tries to bring this ball down in towards Asula. It's a little 1-2 between him and the Brazilian. Eventually, Janelt is there to go and intervene. Igor Thiago, lovely flick there towards Matthias Jensen. Dango Atara desperately trying to keep himself onside. Atara puts this ball in towards that penalty area. I think he knows the flag was going to go up, and the flag does. And it is Newcastle free kick just on the edge of their own penalty area. Atara just going a little bit too early. It's so hard for Keith Andrews to try and deal with the onslaught that Newcastle were putting on them. You've got to say they were doing a half-decent job, and it just came from a corner. They committed quite a few men forward, and then it got into a real mess. It was Coyote who made the initial mistake of heading it up, and it led to the counter-attack, and then he made a second mistake, giving away the penalty. Real horror 30 seconds it was for him, and we'll see if he can make amends. Here is Matthias Jensen giving away possession cheaply towards Tenali. Alanga does take over. Lovely play there by the Swede. Voltemada, so much room for the German to drive into. Voltemada trying to get the shot away. He was so greedy, you've got to say. He's got Barnes towards his left. I cannot understand why he has not played that little bit of a pass. He's got his head down and he's driving forward as the German. If he gets his head up for half a second, he'll see that he's got the Englishman of Barnes standing all alone. All he's got to do is roll it into him, and Barnes has a shot on goal. He's gone driving forward, head down. Poor moment there from Nick Voltemada. We know he's desperate for a goal, but there's moments of being selfish and the hero, and he could have played a part to roll through Harvey Barnes, and that could have led to a really good opening. Nevertheless, Kelleher back in possession, just on the edge of his own penalty area. The Irish international launching one forward towards where Igor Thiago is. He's such a handful, isn't he, Igor Thiago? But Malik Toy has done excellently there, flicking one back towards where Botman is. Here is Pope in towards Botman once more. Jensen's trying to give chase. He plays it in towards Lewis Hall, the former Chelsea man, pumping this one down the line as Harvey Barnes goes up against Coyote. Coyote always going to win this battle and come away with it. You'd think Harvey Barnes just committing the free kick to the absolute disbelief of them home supporters. He's done really well to keep the ball in play, Harvey Barnes, but then he's just gone through the back of Coyote, and it is going to be a Brentford free kick deep inside of their own half. 8 minutes to play of this contest. 2-2 at the moment. Quick little rundown then of what else has happened so far in the Premier League. Manchester United won 2-0 against Tottenham Hotspur. 4 wins in a row for Michael Carrick's side. Bournemouth came from behind to get a point against Aston Villa, 1-1. Arsenal won 3-0 against Sunderland. West Ham won 2-0 against Burnley. Everton came from behind to win 2-1 against Fulham, and Chelsea won 3-1. Cole Palmer with a hat-trick on the day here at St James's Park, and what a fascinating contest it has been. It's Newcastle 2, Brentford 2. It could go either way, and Harvey Barnes is looking to try and send it the way of the Toon Army. Here is William Asula now, cutting inside that stronger right foot of his, opting out of passing towards Harvey Barnes. Now he's being crowded out by turquoise shirts. Here is Donovan trying to drive this ball forward on this right-hand side, giving away possession very, very poorly there by Donovan as Lewis Hall over to go and take the free kick, go and take the throw on quickly, and Donovan's gone right through the back of Tonali and is starting to get that feistiness is starting to get involved. Donovan just trying to spare his blushes because he's dribbled the ball out of play and he's brought down Tonali, the Italian taking the free kick quickly, but it's a good interception though by Yarmouk, and Brentford can now turn defence into attack. Here is Igor Thiago, Matthias Jensen now, ball it towards where Dango Atara is, he plays it back towards where Donovan is trying to arrive. Tonali does get there, and coming over was Nick Pope. He screams keepers. Lewis Hall has jumped for the ball and has just gone down covering his head instead just to make sure that Pope doesn't clatter him, and Newcastle do come away with it. It's a basketball game at this point. The game is so straight. Voltamana trying to find the oncoming run of Anthony Alanga, but Kelleher was there to go and intervene, and he can roll it in towards where Vitali Yannout can go and bring it away. Here is Rico Henry now, back with Matthias Jensen, who's happy to slow the pace of play down just for a moment because we were playing at 100 miles an hour. 6 minutes to go of normal time. I don't want this game to end. I want another 5-10 minutes of stoppage time as well if possible. Kelleher back at the feet of the Irishman. Our fourth official is Rob Jones. We'll be keeping an eye on him just before he does put the board up, as here is Yarmouk, the Ukrainian. Little ball in towards Matthias Jensen. He loves a little flick, doesn't he, Matthias Jensen? It's a lovely ball as well. Played out towards where Coyote is. He's already made a darting run forward, and Yarmouk's ball isn't the greatest. It will be a Newcastle from over on the far left-hand side. I mean, it was, like I was saying, it was Coyote that was really at fault for that Newcastle goal, because not only did he make a mistake with the way he headed the clearance towards William Asula, who came driving forward on this left-hand side. He did really well to get himself back, but in doing so, he then brings down Bruno Guimaraes and commits the penalty, commits the foul, which leads to the penalty. Here is Matthias Jensen then. Lovely ball over the top towards Dango Atara! And the flag has stayed down, and Brentford have come from behind to go level and then find themselves ahead. And it's the best player on the pitch today, Dango Atara, who's made it 3-2, burying one in towards the bottom right corner. And Keith Andrews' side are going to be marching up the Premier League, and there'll be several households in West London making sure that they've got their passports up to date, because they're chasing Europe. It was a long ball played forward towards Igor Thiago, headed down by Botman, and Matthias Jensen, little ball over the top towards Dango Atara, who didn't even have a second thought. He let it go on towards his left foot, and he's blasted it towards Nick Pope. It's gone through the Englishman's legs and trickled into the bottom right corner. The Toon Army hang their heads in despair, because they've come from behind to level things up, and they've got to do it all again, because Dango Atara has just made it 3-2 in this game. What a fabulous performance it's been by him, the former Bournemouth man. And with 4 minutes to go of this contest, plus stoppage time, Keith Andrews wants this game done now. He's made an immediate substitution. Matthias Jensen, who's just got himself an assist, will be vacating the field of play, and Mikkel Damsgaard will be coming on. A bit of fresh legs for Keith Andrews' side. I tell you what, Keith Andrews is showing no emotion at the minute. He's trying to remain as cool as possible. I bet inside he's absolutely buzzing with excitement. We are going to see a double substitution as well for Eddie Howe's side. Kieran Trippier is coming off the field of play. Dan Burn will be coming on. I believe they're going to go in towards a back three and just send everybody forward. Sandro Tonali's day is done. Jacob Ramsey will be coming on, their fifth and final substitution. Eddie Howe throwing just everything at Brentford now. With 3 minutes to go of normal time, I anticipate we're going to have about, we did have a VAR check, didn't we? 6, 7, 8 minutes, give or take, of stoppage time. Here is Sven Botman now, as Brentford basically playing a back five. Dango Atara has come so deep to do his defensive work. We'll go on to man of the match in a moment. I mean, it's no doubt about it, it's going to be Dango Atari. He's been absolutely fantastic in this game. Here's Malik Toy then. Newcastle got to find an answer once again. Jacob Ramsey getting his first touch of the game in towards Sven Botman, who got the first goal of what has been a fantastic contest. Harvey Barnes now taking over. 25-30 yards from goal. Cutting inside toward that right foot of his. Decent ball in, away by Christopher Roger. Damsgaard tries to get himself involved. So does Igor Thiago. The Brazilian does get himself involved. And Yenhout can pump one forward on towards this left-hand side. Igor Thiago giving chase against Malik Toy. The German is there to go and intervene and roll it back towards his goalkeeper, Nick Pope. As again, Brentford aren't going into their shell. They're forcing Newcastle to try and play out from the back. And as Coyote is forcing Harvey Barnes all the way back. And there's a little coming together there by Harvey Barnes and Coyote. Little words as well. Again, like I say, it's got that feistiness, doesn't it, this game? Pope's ball over the top towards this left-hand side of Dan Burn. No chance Donovan going to win that header against a 6'7" Dan Burn. Former Bournemouth man driving forward now. Here is Harvey Barnes taking over. Bruno Guimaraes, who got the second Newcastle goal of this game. Alanga over towards where Lewis Hall is, trying to set one up on that left foot. Lewis Hall opts off for the right instead. Complaints for handball, not going to be given by a referee. Will be checked by VAR. I didn't think it was handball to begin with. Ball laid over towards Donovan now. The substitute with loads of room to go and drive into. If he's got any sense, he goes for the corner. As Mikael Damsgaard is trying to make that be known. Donovan instead cutting inside that left foot of his. Donovan strikes straight down the throat of Nick Pope. And Newcastle can regroup immediately. I mean, I don't understand why Donovan doesn't just go. Mikael Damsgaard made his run so obvious that he wanted to go towards the corner flag. Instead, Donovan trying to find a little moment, cut inside on that left foot of his, trying to create some sort of special, just, you know, for the substitute. Coyote does go down from a little foul just in there by Bruno Guimaraes, and Newcastle look like they're just running out of steam. They've got to dig in, try and find a bit of a second wind and just try and get any kind of result from this game, because at the moment it'll mean they haven't won in 5 games, lost 4, only drawn 1. As Brentford setting up over this free kick, and they're still committing men forward here. Christopher Roger and Vandenberg have both gone drifting forward here in the 90th minute when Brentford are 3-2 up. They've sent 5 men inside of the penalty area. I don't understand it. I mean, they're 3-2 to the good with the advantage, and they're still trying to chase a 4th goal. I don't know if they're trying to get above Liverpool on goals for, and they know that. It's not desperate right now, especially when we got 9 minutes of stoppage time too. Ball played in towards the penalty area. It's gone all the way out, and it will be a Newcastle goal kick. And Brentford know they've still got to play 9 more minutes and try and hang on here in this fabulously entertaining contest. Ramsey in towards Bruno Guimaraes. Lovely little flick back towards the Englishman. And the substitute comes driving forward. Vitaly Yenhout has drawn him back, and he'll be going into Andy Madley's book. And it's the most simplest of yellow cards for Vitaly Yenhout, the now Brentford skipper, since Matthias Jensen has gone off. I mean, it was just stone wall, to be honest. Jacob Ramsey got away. It's something that they call in the business a professional foul, as Nick Pope has come over to launch this ball forward for Newcastle. I mean, yeah, you've got to favour. There's got to be some sort of big save or big chance or big goal to conclude proceedings at some point. Dango Utara pumping this ball down the throat of the pitch. Bruno Guimaraes just trying to shake away any of that lactic acid still in his muscles and gather up the ball. The Brazilian pumping this ball forward straight down the middle of the pitch. It's headed away by Christopher Roger. It's a lovely little flick on as well there by Yenhout, but there is Dan Burn to go and intervene. Coyote going in a little bit too aggressively for my liking on Asula. Referee does play advantage. Again, Coyote forcing Asula all the way back. Played in towards Jacob Ramsey once again. Lovely little interchange there between Dan Burn and the former Aston Villa man of Jacob Ramsey. Bruno Guimaraes now helping out as Newcastle, they're keeping possession quite nicely, but it's on the halfway line. They've got to get this ball further forward. Alanga using the overlapping run of Lewis Hall, who's got to cut inside on that left foot of his now. Lewis Hall draws the foul from Donovan. Hall taking it quickly in towards where Alanga is. Ball towards that penalty area, and arriving was Malik Toy. And if he lets it go, Botman has a tap in. He doesn't know that though, of course, and he's drawn his effort wide. And it was, it was clever play by Lewis Hall. He won the free kick, taking it quickly as Rico Henry just switched off for a moment. Malik Toy tried to convert home at close range into that bottom right corner. Alanga picking out his man and just couldn't quite get the diversion that he wanted on it. 7 minutes to play then of this game. Eddie Howe with a concerned look on his face. As the Newcastle supporters with a bit of a glum look, of despair at the moment. Long ball play forward there by Kelleher, headed into touch, and Rico Henry can get us back resumed. As these Newcastle supporters are just starting to filter out of this ground. I mean, they can't do that at the moment, given the situation that they find themselves in. It's only one goal in it. Got to see your side through all the way to the end. Mikkel Damsgaard now trying to play this ball in behind. Great play there by Lewis Hall, and he skipped past 2, 3, 4 challenges, and he feels he has been fouled. Andy Madley not buying it. I think Lewis Hall has a real case there. Dango Atara in towards Igor Thiago. Lovely ball by Igor Thiago in towards Coyote, and Coyote couldn't quite get there, and Lewis Hall has completely lost his head. He is screaming towards the linesman over on that far side, and he's really feeling the effects of that challenge. And there's a referee has a decision to make here. He's given a free kick Brentford's way. Lewis Hall has gone sprinting over towards Andy Madley, and if he's not careful, he's going to talk himself in towards a yellow card here. I mean, he has a real case. Lewis Hall has dribbled past 2, 3, 4 players. He's been brought down by Rico Henry, and he's gone in towards Yarmouk, and he's completely lost his head here, Lewis Hall. And I mean, like I say, I can understand his complaints, but he's going to talk his way into a yellow card. Andy Madley just keeping his cards in his pocket for now. Mikkel Damsgaard is over this free kick then. Brentford now using the smart option of not sending too many men forward, as Yenau puts this ball in towards where Dango Atara is. Picks up on this right-hand side by Yarmouk. He's gone driving in towards the corner flag. Yarmouk does win the throw-on off of the deflection of a Dan Burn. It will be a Brentford throw-on deep inside of Newcastle's half, and Coyote has come over to go and take this one, and I think they're going to launch it into the penalty area once again. The disbelief I have a little bit, given the circumstances. Why they don't keep the ball in the corner flag, I will never know. They're chasing that 4th goal of Brentford. It's going to be that long throw in then by Coyote in towards that near post, headed away by Nick Voltemada, and there was some holding in there by Christopher Agier, and it is going to be a Newcastle free kick just inside of their own 6-yard box. 4 minutes to play then of this game. Newcastle are all guns blazing. They're throwing everything at Brentford at the moment to try and get an equaliser for the second time in this game. Botman launches this ball forward over towards this right-hand side. Headed away, though, by Sepp van den Berg. Challenge that came in on him and Nick Voltemada. The German has stayed down just for a moment. Over here with Donovan on this left-hand side. Lewis Hall does bring him down, and Hall is just, he's talked himself into a yellow card. You could see that coming from a mile away. He's thrown his arms at Andy Madley, and it is going to be a yellow card for Lewis Hall, who, I mean, it's a foul that he's committed on Donovan, and he's, given how the circumstances have gone for the Englishman, I think he's got the yellow card for dissent with the way he's thrown his arm at Andy Madley, and I wouldn't be surprised if quite a few of these Newcastle players have a go at the referee at full time. Igor Thiago is just grabbing Lewis Hall here, just having a little word with him and almost toying with him. Andy Madley's told the Brazilian to step away, as Brentford, who are looking to try and take that free kick short with Vitaly Yenau, opt out of it. It's going to be the in-swing and delivery in towards that penalty. Arriving at the far post is Christopher Agier. Dango Atara has got there too, but he's in an offside position, and it will be a Newcastle free kick just inside of their own 18-yard box. So as it means, Brentford will be moving on to level points with Liverpool at the moment. If they are able to see out this 3-2 win, Newcastle will be without a win in 5 games, as Yarmouk does flick it on towards Igor Thiago. Little 1-2 between the two of them. Here is Mikkel Damsgaard looking for options inside of that penalty area. Happy to retain possession just for the moment. Yarmouk once more. Mikkel Damsgaard the substitute, as Brentford retaining possession quite nicely here. Yarmouk, as he's just toying virtually with Sven Botman and Dan Burn over there deep inside of their own half. He gets the deflection off of Yarmouk, and it will be a Newcastle throw-on. Again, 2 minutes to play. This 9 minutes have just flown by. We've barely seen Kelleher in goal. Here is Igor Thiago, plays it in towards where Mikkel Damsgaard is. He can't quite find any kind of room for the strike. Opted to go for the corner flag instead. Lovely reversal ball now in towards Vitaly Yenau. He tries to chip one in towards that penalty area, realising he can't commit a professional foul again. Has to let this play continue as Rico Henry is there to go and intervene. Sepp van den Berg plays it back towards Kelleher. and he can pump one long down towards this left-hand side as Donovan is wrestling with Lewis Hall, and Lewis Hall has to be really, really careful here because, again, he's been blown up here. I mean, there wasn't too much in it for me, but that's just how the nature of the game has gone for him. Newcastle really have lost their heads in the last few moments, and Keith Andrews is just shouting towards his side. He's doing the motion of calm yourselves down. Let's just see this out now. Don't get any cars, don't get anybody sent off. Let's just see this out. Here is Donovan once more over on this far left-hand side, up against Lewis Hall once more. Hall putting in the challenge, so is Alanga. Donovan's done very, very well to retain possession just for a moment. Donovan now does take over in towards Igor Thiago, who lets it run, but Harvey Barnes was there, and he can pump it forward towards Asula. Again, this might be Newcastle's last chance of the game, but there is Coyote over to go and intervene. Little rash moment there for Coyote. Here is Ager, and he can pump this one forward on this right-hand side. Dango Atara can go and give chase. Pope can gather. 40 seconds to play. Last few moments for Newcastle to try and find some sort of equaliser. Pump forward towards Voltemade. He wins the initial header. Vandenberg is there once again. Janau is there to help go and intervene, and Donovan can hook one long down this left-hand side. Toy does bring it down only as far as Damsgaard, and Brentford have an overload here. Newcastle have thrown so many bodies forward. Here is Dango Atara once more. Atara onto that right foot of his. Dango Atara, and he places effort in towards the stand. A little bit uncharacteristic of him. He feels it should be a corner. He's not going to get it. My man of the match today, Dango Atara, just setting one up just with a lovely little fake shot, but he's just lashed at his effort over there for a Newcastle goal kick. They're going to have to go long, and if the referee is kind, it'll be one last throw of the dice for Newcastle before full time. Pope's ball forward, lumped along, but Andy Madley is not kind, and Brentford have gone all the way up to the northeast and picked up all 3 points. Keith Andrews' side coming from behind in the first half, and also when they went to 2-2, showing